Have you ever thought about creating a professional website for yourself? There are many applications and benefits to doing it, and it's easier to do than you would think. We're students from the Technical Communications Workshop at Texas State University, and we're here to tell you how to create an effective professional website. What defines a professional website as opposed to an unprofessional website? For this video, we're going to define professional as a website that is oriented towards your career. Websites can be defined as any online page that is created by the owner. Social media would not be included in this because while social media is helpful, it is not by an individual from scratch. You may be asking yourself why you need a professional website. Having a professional website can provide a platform to present yourself in new, innovative ways. You can reach out to more people. Professional websites can advertise your new product, launch your new business, showcase your talent, or even provide a place to display your research and talents, which can aid you in a job interview.
The execution of website design has been increasingly more accessible throughout the years. You no longer need an assortment of programming skills in order to execute a successful website. You can use tools such as Wix, WordPress, and Blogger. Like any project, creating your own website requires its own materials and equipment. We recommend you use a desktop or laptop computer because creating a website using a mobile device is rather difficult, so we definitely recommend you use a laptop or desktop. As mentioned earlier, website design is very easy. But before jumping into making your own website, you need to have a plan. The more thought out and well organized your website is, the more professional your presence will be online. In our video, we're going to cover 3 topics. Those 3 topics are planning and organization, navigation, and aesthetics.
Hey guys, my name's Asia, and we're going to talk about how to create your own professional website. It might be tempting just to jump right in without any planning, but planning can make all the difference because websites without planning can be confusing and unprofessional. We are going to cover 4 main topics of professional website planning. These include purpose, audience, scope, and identity. These concepts are important to help you stay on message with your audience. In Lawrence's book, Balanced Website Design, Lawrence explains that doing so saves you from having to make too many corrections in the long run. In their book, Technical Communications, Markel and Selber define purpose as a solution you are going to provide to an audience with a problem. In order to define your purpose, we have to ask ourselves a few questions. You should start by brainstorming. Because you have an idea, you may be tempted to think that you know exactly how to proceed. Alexander Dawson suggests investigating your motivations before you start. Ask yourself, what has inspired you to create a website? Why will it be useful to others, and what problems will it solve? Do you have goals or outcomes for your website? Research your idea online and find out if your idea is unique. There may be other people out there who have created similar websites. Will you be competing with them, or will they become your partners? Another important aspect to consider when defining your website is asking yourself who will use your website. Do you already have customers? Do you have a following of people that agree with you and your goals? Lawrence and Tavicle suggest that we get to know our audience. We can do this by having casual conversations, doing formal interviews, or even distributing questionnaires. Start 2 lists: what you do know about your audience, what you don't know about your audience. Ask what their average age is, their gender, their location, their education. Are they computer and internet literate? Once you've created these lists, come up with questions for your audience. You can then use these questions to conduct interviews, build questionnaires. If you don't have an established audience before you build, you can approach groups, clubs, or societies. What do we mean by identity? Now that we've defined our audience and begun to think about our purpose, we can begin defining our scope for the website. Is your audience just interested in the basics, or do they want to know the details? With this, we can begin to consider your website identity. Dawson recommends writing a mission statement, defining your ethics, and even naming your site. From here, we can begin to consider what kind of site is best for your goals. These days, many different kinds of websites exist. Your idea might be best suited for one particular style. Dawson tells us about some of the most important styles. Blogs are good for addressing the concrete problems people have in life. Meanwhile, commercial sites are focused on selling something. Portfolios are there not only to showcase talents, but they sell an individual. Many more types of sites exist, but these are just some of the most common ones. In general, one way to avoid becoming overwhelmed is to look at website categories like Christonia in their article, The Psychology of Website Visitor Intent. Christonia suggests that from a psychological perspective, only 3 types of sites exist: informational, transactional, and navigational. Every visitor to every site is looking to do one of 3 things. Determining your own place in the online world can help you further define your style. Just to review, we can break down our planning process into 4 simple steps: purpose, audience, scope, and defining your identity as a professional. Once you feel comfortable with these steps, you are ready to start organizing your site.
Hi y'all, I'm Eva and I will be sharing with you more about organization and navigation through creating your website. Some important things to consider include organization, linking pages, and being conscious of the consumer experience. I'll be breaking down those topics to ensure that we move forward towards creating that professional website.
Organization is closely related to the purpose of your product. When creating a professional website, you must consider the end goal and purpose of creating your website and for you. These tips are important to include because they will ensure your website is professional and properly organized. You'll learn about how to keep your website organized, how to link together pages via hyperlinks, and what is truly important in the user experience.
Key tips to keep in mind while creating your website is to keep it simple and effective, display your best work and awards, and include public recognition and testimonials to prove that your service will provide satisfaction.
It is found that 72% of website users trust an online testimonial as much as a personal recommendation, and more than half of consumers will try a business based on positive feedback reviews. So as you can see, there's a ton of 5 stars, so someone would be much more likely to use this product. Establishing your credibility as a professional is very important to your website viewers. Displaying certifications, licensure, and awards prove your credibility to your viewers, which establishes ethos, causing them more likely to be using your services. Hyperlinks. These are examples of how you can make your website look more professional by utilizing these hyperlinks to other pages. A hyperlink is either internal, leading to another page within your website, or they can be external, directing the user to a completely different website. Hyperlinks are connected by anchor elements, and you can go through seamlessly through a website. This is just one example of how you can do that, both internal and external. The little symbol here and over here, this is how you anchor a different website. Now, we should really consider how users utilize websites to break down a bit of your specific structure. We should be using the user experience to guide your professional website's creation. As you can see, this user looks unsatisfied with the website they are using, most likely because of the layout, which makes them less likely to use the product or service. This is an example of a website that would be replicating the best experience for a user. When considering the user's experience, you have to manage your elements, visual and content. As you can see here, there's a visual to grab your attention, and then there's also the content solidifying you as a consumer and the professional. You can see that the user is not being overloaded with too many visual and or content elements. It is consistent with other websites as far as the menu tab is up here at the top, and the scroll bar is on the right hand side. Content should include information details that have adequate language quality. The written language needs to establish ethos and be professional. The navigation needs to be consistent with user expectations. And lastly, the quantity of elements on the page need to be limited to only what is pertinent and necessary for the viewer. See here, this adds to the viewer experience. Same with the X's and the check marks.
Now that we've got the ins and outs of organization and user experience, let's move on to visual aesthetics with Zane.
Hey guys, it's Zane again. Now you've been educated on the organizational factors of websites as well as the purposes behind them, it is now time to educate you on visual aesthetics and the intricacies within them. As you can see in this image, it is easy to distinguish which of these two websites would be perceived as easier to use. The factors of order, color, symmetry, hue, and brightness all contribute to the perceived usability of a website. All too often users are bombarded with an overzealous interface that have too low symmetry and too high of a complexity. The goal when designing a website should be for it to be welcoming and no hassle at all to use. This can be achieved through the correct balance of the factors of visual aesthetics. Furthermore, one must consider which visual aesthetic format will be most appropriate for their audience. For example, differences in a mobile website versus one on a laptop, or even ones that are blogs versus social media or even shopping websites. As you can see here, the layouts of different websites varies greatly. Again, this goes back to the purpose behind those websites, which is in aid in execution by visual aesthetics. Alright guys, you are now well equipped with the knowledge of visual aesthetics in regards to web design. You can now create your own visually pleasing and easy to use website. But again, please remember to adjust these factors in regards to your audience, whether it is a blog post, social media, a mobile website, or a shopping website.
Planning and organizing before you build will help you avoid problems later. Know your topics, know your pages, identify the best navigation styles for your audience and topic. Without good organization and navigation, you will lose an audience quickly and look unprofessional. Finally, bring it all together with a good aesthetics theme. Just like wearing a nice outfit to an interview, having cohesive aesthetics will make a good first impression.
Another great thing to keep in mind is that all of these skills are transferable to other communications as well. These concepts are used while designing infographics, flyers, articles, and more. You'll be surprised how transferable these techniques can be in business and professional settings.
Design is going to ever be evolving due to the continuous advancement of technology. Staying up to date will be vitally important. Here are some resources that we recommend that can aid in doing that. As well, we included the actual resources that we use to compile this guide. Please feel free to ask us any questions in the comments below. Just as a side note, we want to remind you guys that there's a whole world of creative people out there. We encourage you to collaborate with friends, join groups, or even societies where you can discuss and learn new ideas. After all, collaborations can be some of the most successful projects around. We really hope you enjoyed our video guys, and we hope that you can use this knowledge in all your future projects and endeavors.